Good morning, everybody. Helps to have a microphone. Wow, mic is hot. Good morning again, everybody. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Todd Schwartz. I'm the Executive Vice President and Chief Academic Officer. My first announcement this morning is that we've decided to restructure all time off, and so the closer you're sitting to the stage today, the more time off you'll be getting. And sorry, Caesar. I saw at least two of our trustees this morning, so I want to welcome them. Our board chair, Jan Mitleiter, I saw her earlier. Would you stand and wave? Laird Stone, I just saw walk in the door. Thanks for coming, Laird. And any other trustees here? Anna Scholes is here. Stand away. And any others. Thank you so much for being here today. Some of you may have noticed over the past 5 years that I sometimes open my remarks by saying something like, "I've been thinking." And today is no different, except that my ruminations have been prompted in some ways by the topic that the instructional dean team introduced at the department chair retreat about a week ago. And the topic was identity and identity theory. Coming to terms with, understanding, and explaining who we are, and related to that, what we've become and what we wish to be. Wish is probably not the right word. It should be more about what we intend to be or challenge ourselves to be. Kevin, our CIO down here right in the front row, Kevin calls this future state. I like to call it the dream state. This identity is multidimensional in that we each have a personal identity and perhaps a professional identity, but this place, CSI, all of us collectively have an institutional identity as well, and we sometimes struggle to agree on just what that is. We spend a lot of time trying to figure this out, this aspiration, and it is important, but it also makes sense to stop and take a look around and see where we are and where we've come from. When I'm climbing a mountain and I'm just struggling to make it to the summit, focused on getting where I'm going, I have to make myself stop sometimes and take a look back. Don't look down, right? But some of the most rewarding experiences I've had on a mountain are stopping, catching my breath, looking back down the route and seeing just how far I've come, even if I'm not standing on top. So now, in the middle of our pursuit of whatever summit is out there, let's stop and catch our breath and take a look back, or at least take a look around. Over our time together, I've tried to emphasize that as good as we are at what we do, individually and collectively, there's always going to be a drive to improve, to keep heading up the hill, and you're doing it. We're doing it. I wanted to share just a few of many, many things with you that I've noticed just stopping here and taking a look around. At the end of the spring semester, there was a concerted effort to improve student pathways through our website. We looked around and made a list of all the different kinds of students we have at CSI and how best to guide them. Our new homepage includes navigation improvements and guides for students. It's hot off the press, and there is no way I'm going to demo it for you today. Been there, done that. The IT team and a supporting work group coordinated by Samra, Janaea, and others worked very hard on this over the semester. Take a look. From my perspective, it is a huge improvement over what we had. Relating to this, my CSI simply doesn't meet our students' needs, and therefore it doesn't meet ours. After much discussion over the summer, we will be pursuing an RFP, or request for proposals, from various vendors, including Genzibar, to explore our best course forward. A new online version of SOAR, or eSOAR, provides a backup plan for our entering students. Thank you to the team that worked to build that for the Canvas platform. In addition to eSOAR, there is now additional employee training available in data security, Title IX compliance training, and FERPA training. All employees are enrolled in this training as of today, so watch for a campus-wide email explaining how to get started from Dr. Shute. This training and retraining is required for all employees, and we feel the updates are a great improvement. We're about to improve the student dining and social experience with a new addition to the Taylor Building, including an improved bookstore. In case you missed it, by the way, the bookstore is currently located over in the Evergreen Building. When we leave here this morning, during breakfast, you'll have opportunity to see two visual representations of the renovation. Spencer calls them mood boards. Reminds me of mood rings. We're interested in your input, and there will be a means for you to vote on your preference if you so choose. There are several other planned facility construction and improvement projects that will be extremely positive once they're completed. In the meantime, please be patient. These things take time and a lot of planning, so hang in there while they proceed. In general, and as of today, those approved and funded projects include a new vet tech facility, I knew that was going to come, and an extensive remodel of the Canyon Building. Others are in the concept phase. We have an amazing faculty. Just one example was recognized last week at the Idaho CTE Award Celebration, where the Career and Technical Educators of Idaho named our own Clay Wilkie. Applause, and you haven't even heard what he is yet. He is the outstanding post-secondary CTE educator in Idaho. Congratulations, Clay. An emphasis on teaching and learning and faculty development has been a priority of ours for a number of years, and with that has come the evolution of the Effective Teaching Academy and the Center for Instructional Excellence. There is a great lineup of development opportunities scheduled for this week. Thank you to the CIE team. Another opportunity for professional development for all employees is the CSI Leadership Institute. We're finalizing our membership for the third cohort, and there is still a spot or two to fill. If you'd like more information, our first cohort will be available today in the HR conference room from 11 to noon to discuss their experience with you. A request for applications will follow later this week. I'm not always sure what to expect when I see Dr. Rocket enter our office area, but it's always interesting. She came to us with a great idea that I hope you'll take advantage of this Wednesday. Don't forget about the History by Horsepower activity. If you've never been drug around campus by a team of horses while learning about our local history, now's your chance. One of our most rapidly growing units is the Workforce Development and Training Team, and their enrollments this past year were nearly 10,000. Brandy assures me that they're only getting started, and we will be launching a continuing education function later this year. Thanks to all those who worked with Idaho Power over the past months to create an innovative approach to apprenticeship to credit that will initially serve at least 40 students, all of whom will be needing general education coursework. We expect hundreds more to follow. Student success has been a theme for the past 5 years, and there are many ways to look at this. We gather up a lot of data, and Chris and his institutional effectiveness team do a great job making sense of it. I wanted to give you just a few highlights. As a college, we are seeing a greater diversity of students than ever before. Last year, we served more than 12,600 credit-bearing students, the most since the height of the Great Recession. I mentioned the growth of workforce training a moment ago, and those students represent almost 150,000 hours of coursework completed, a new record for CSI. Students in more than 70 high schools across Idaho got an early start on college through CSI, and we saw our Hispanic enrollment top 24% for the first time, a percentage that we expect to continue to climb. Once students become a part of the CSI family, they're excelling. 38% of students who begin in remedial math now complete a college-level math class with a C or better within 1 year. Just 4 years ago, that number was 17%. That's a nearly 125% increase in the space of 4 years. We should thank our math department for that. Likewise, 68% of students who require remediation in English now complete a college-level English class with a C or better within 1 year. That's up from 48% just 4 years ago, 20 percentage points. Thank you, English department. In 2015-16, so 4 years ago, just 10% of our degree-seeking students completed a program of study on time, which means 1 year for most certificates and 2 years for an associate's degree. Last year, that number was 18%, an 80% increase. During that same time period, our 150% of time, so these are the people that take a more traditional amount of time, that graduation rate increased substantially as well, from 21% to 29%. I just want to point something out. These figures place CSI in the upper echelons of performance improvements among all community colleges. Give yourselves a hand. Students are taking more credits per semester, are graduating with fewer excess credits, and are graduating more rapidly and more often. All this is due to your continued hard work in recruiting, advising, supporting, mentoring, and educating our students. And finally, students are leaving CSI feeling good about their experience here and feeling good about themselves. 95% would recommend CSI to a friend or family member, and 90% rank their entire educational experience at CSI as good or excellent. Most of you know that CSI has participated in the Chronicle of Higher Education's Great Colleges to Workforce survey for the past couple of years, and Chris is going to get up and talk more about that in a few minutes. What you may not remember about those results from the first iteration of that survey, the category that got the most positive responses from you was the category that dealt with pride in your work, in your department, and in your college. We are getting better. And it appears that getting better and the commitment to improvement is very much a part of who we are, that identity thing. Last spring, I began to tinker with a statement that I've since found sort of translates to this idea of institutional identity. I thought about what I hear from you, from students, from the community, from people all over the state, and my own experiences. I've shared it with some of you, and I'd like to share it with all of you. The College of Southern Idaho is and has always been committed to the best experience we can provide our students. From first contact to graduation and beyond, this commitment not only acknowledges but treasures the community college mission to work together to improve the futures of our students and to be a transformative force in their human development. Just as our mission varies from that of the university, so too does our approach to developing our students. Many come to us without the resources necessary to succeed, but we are committed to serving them whatever their circumstances and in spite of their individual challenges. This support is relentless and is intolerant of barriers. It is redundant. It is not hand-holding nor enabling. It is empowering. We will spare no human effort to ensure that our students are fully supported, fully encouraged, and fully empowered to complete their education and contribute effectively to society. We are CSI, yet we are nothing without our students. I'm so proud of what we do here, so proud to stand with all of you doing this good work. As I was leaving campus a few weeks ago after a Board of Trustees meeting, our board chair, Jan, approached me, and as she regularly does, which I appreciate, she expressed her appreciation for the difficulty and volume of work we all do. Her expression that evening was concerned and sympathetic, so maybe I was looking tired that evening. But my response was sincere when I said, I love my job. I love this place. Every day I'm anxious to get here and get to work. What better work is there than this? All that being said, and as great as we are, yes, we can get better still. Many of you have been working on taking feedback from the aforementioned Great Colleges survey and translating it to institutional improvements. Chris is going to come up now and provide an update. Thank you so much for your time and attention this morning.
Do the obligatory fix the mic, now that Todd's not up here anymore. Good gracious. All right, there we go. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Chris Bragg. I am the Associate Dean of Institutional Effectiveness, and I'm very happy to take just a couple of minutes to talk to you this morning about the Great Colleges to Work For survey. About 2 years ago, we were on campus talking about all the good things that were happening with students, all the changes in the metrics and the data and the analysis. But one of the things we realized we didn't have a lot of data on and a lot of analysis on was our employees. And certainly anecdotal information exists out there. Todd gets lots of anecdotal information. Sometimes it's anecdotal information about how happy people are. Sometimes it's not. Those are the days when Jan says, "Are you okay?" as he's walking out of the building. So we decided, hey, let's get past the anecdotes. Let's just ask people what they think. And we did a survey. The original survey then was done, and many of you remember this, in the spring of 2018. We partnered with Great Colleges to Work For, which is actually, you'll remember last year we talked about this, it's a contest, really, is what it is. You have your employees fill out a survey, and if you are a great college to work for, you get published in the Chronicle of Higher Education. Quite frankly, that wasn't the interest. It wasn't the interest of the president. The interest was a really good tool to get feedback from all of you. So we did the survey in the spring of 2018. There were about 187 people who filled it out. It was a scientific system set up by a third party, randomly chosen individuals across campus. We got the data back and started to parse through that data. And you'll recall last fall, as we were going through that data, we found some areas where we needed some work. Todd mentioned that pride was an area where people responded very positively. Job satisfaction, place where people responded very positively, but a couple of areas that were less positive. So what we did was put a call out to the entire campus and say, hey, if you want to be part of a task force to work on this, let us know. We had 45 people, many of whom are sitting in this room, come back and say, I want to work on this. They were on a very tight timeline. They worked incredibly hard last fall to come forward with a series of recommendations, actually about 40 recommendations for administration, about areas where faculty, staff, administration could all work together to make CSI a great place to work, and even better place to work. Those recommendations then were handed off to the president, and some of those recommendations we've already worked on. We've already done a number of things and implemented them. There were others, though, that were kind of like, we need to dig in this a little bit more. We need to figure out what we're really talking about here. So one of the things that was formed is what's called the Shared Governance and Communication Task Force. The Shared Governance and Communication Task Force was kind of a spin-off of that original task force, focusing very specifically on those two issues. And what we did is got that group together. It's a group of about 15 people. Since April, they've been meeting usually at 7 o'clock in the morning. to sit, to look at the recommendations that came out, and to look at the how. Those original recommendations were kind of the what do we need to do? This group has been working on the how. That group has been incredibly ably led by four folks, I think several of whom are here in the room. Shelley McEwen has been one of the co-chairs of that group. Polly Hulsey has been one of the co-chairs, Julie Ransom, and Sandy Bostetter. And I would like you to give them a round of applause, if you would, for the work that they've done. Again, it's been a lot of early mornings for several months now. And what they asked me to do is get up and let you know today that we've got about it's a multiple page document that we're working on right now. But all of that document rests on a foundation of a philosophy of shared governance. I remember when we first started the task force recommendations, somebody asked me, well, what is shared governance? What does it mean? Could you find me a definition? And we started to look around, and the reality is, yeah, we can find you, I'm not sure how many colleges there are in America today, but that's how many definitions of shared governance there are in America today. What it means is very different on different campuses and different institutions. That group, though, has come up with a draft of a shared governance policy. So those four co-chairs and then a number of other people, and they want to share that draft with you. They want to get your feedback and see if that foundation that we're building the rest of the document on is something you agree with. So in the spirit of shared governance, what you're going to be seeing sometime in the next week or so is an invitation to take a look at that and to provide feedback either through Faculty Senate. Faculty Senate Executive Committee is going to spear that part of it, and PACE Executive Committee is going to take care of the other part of it. So you're going to get an opportunity to kind of channel feedback through those groups. Now, if you're not feeling like you're necessarily in either one of those groups, then you certainly can just get feedback directly to me. The committee's going to look at it and continue to work on that document and get it put together. So ongoing work there, lots of good stuff happening, and we'll continue to keep you posted. In fact, if you go to the CSI Connect website, on that Connect website, right in the middle, there's a big banner that says Great Colleges to Work For Task Force Recommendations. You can click on it. You can see all the recommendations. You can see the timeline of what's happened. You can see this actual statement itself is posted there right now. So if you want to go back and you want to review that statement, you can go take a look at it there as well. So I encourage you to do that. The last thing I want to finish up on, as you know, last spring of 2019, we did the survey again, except this time gave it to everybody. So all of you should have gotten the opportunity to fill that survey out. We close to doubled our participation, and we are starting to get that feedback right now. We should have the full suite of feedback by the end of August. Once that full suite is in our hands, that will be passed along to the president. We actually got more feedback this year. We also are getting more reports that are letting us drill down a little bit more into specific issues, things like benefits, all kinds of different areas. So that work is ongoing as well, and we will, over the fall, be getting those results out and be stepping forward with phase 2, I guess, of Great Colleges to Work For. So that's the quick update. By all means, reach out to those four co-chairs. If you have questions, go to the website, check it out. You can always email me. I've been part of the survey. You can also email Eric. The survey originally comes out of Human Resources, so happy to answer questions and help you wherever we can. All right, thank you very much.
The importance of being able to work in a space that allows us to succeed and allows us to make progress and allows us, makes us want to show up every morning and come to work. A lot of that has to do with the leadership at the top. A lot of I wouldn't say Jeff is involved in every intricate detail of all these things that I mentioned earlier. He's the guy that shapes that space that we all work in. And so it's my great privilege to introduce our president, Jeff Fox.
Oh, gee, this is adjusted for me already. Thanks, Todd. Welcome back, everybody. I hope you had a restful summer and ready for the upcoming year. My remarks this morning will be brief, and I'm going to start off with some topics that presidents deal with in the summer throughout the year, and then close with some personal thoughts. I do want to call out again, I know it's already been mentioned, the Board of Trustees here. These 5 people are amazing, and they give a lot of their time and effort and their talent to CSI in service to our students and our communities. Can we have another round of applause for our Board of Trustees, please? Plus, Laird's a pretty good golfer. I'd like to call out the fine arts crew just because they're great. Thank you guys for your work. If you've had a chance to walk around campus, not only does the weather really reach us today, but the grounds crew ordered that weather just for you. If you have a chance to walk around, Spencer and company, especially on the grounds crew, has done an amazing job. This campus is a refreshing place to be. And grounds crew, thank you. Inevitably, the first thing that people say to me when they come to the office is, gee, your campus is amazingly beautiful. I can only agree. And I would just like to shout out one more vote of thanks here to the person that really makes things happen, Ginger Nukaya. Where are you hiding? Here she is. As you know, Ginger took over from Kathy Deal when Kathy stepped down at the end of the year, and she has done an amazing job of keeping me on track and making sure that everything is happening the right way. Thank you, Ginger. So every year, CSI employees retire, move on to other opportunities, and we have to get ready for the next group. So it's a great opportunity to meet and mentor new colleagues as a result of this process. And this year, we have new staff, new faculty, new coaches. I was able to welcome many new and returning faculty last week at the Center for Instructional Excellence's Effective Teaching Workshop. I was so proud at that gathering to see those people. It was new faculty and mentoring faculty. As I shared with them that morning, no other school that I know of has such a focus on excellence and collegial connection. No other school has devoted this kind of effort and expertise across disciplines to welcome and engage our new instructional staff. Leaving that room earlier this week, or last week, I felt the future was very bright. So a couple of things. It's been a busy summer of travel and meetings. That's what presidents do in the summer, is travel a lot to these meetings we all get to go to. So I'm going to talk a bit about some of those. I think Todd and Chris have covered some of the key points about the institution. One of the meetings is called the Mountain States Association of Community Colleges, or MSAC. And that was held in Denver this year. It's a collection of about 34 community colleges like CSI. They were either rural or frontier classified. There is a classification called frontier, by the way. We are a rural community college. And of that 34 or so, about between 10 and 15 presidents show up every year to hear various national speakers on topics of interest. Some of the assembled presidents, we heard concerns about concurrent enrollment or dual credit. Again, this is a focus for community colleges across the nation. We talked about providing access and opportunity in Idaho and the nation in general. Colleges are looking for new ways to manage instructional resources and quality in all those areas. CSI is accredited by NACEP, the National Alliance of Concurrent Enrollment Partnerships, and that status comes from a regular review of quality based on supporting documentation, demonstrating outcomes and rigor. Other presentation and topics included moving on the digital and post-digital age, mobility and access through mobile devices for transportation, food, library, security, grades, and more. We heard about learning spaces in connection not just with classrooms, but reflection, presentation, collaboration, and reimagined library spaces. We discussed issues surrounding middle mile and last mile broadband access for rural populations. This is especially pertinent for states like Idaho and for CSI as we serve our students in rural Region 4. Another meeting is called the HEPC, or HEPC, Higher Education President's Council. That's peculiar to Idaho, and it represents the 8 public post-secondary institutions. So presidents from ISU, BSU, U of I, LC, and then the 4 community colleges meet regularly. At the summer meeting, I became the second longest serving president in Idaho, behind Bert Glandon, suddenly, which talks about the way things change. Last year, Kevin Satterley stepped in as ISU's new president. Cynthia Pemberton assumed that role at Lewis Clark. In July, Scott Green took over at the University of Idaho, and Marlene Tromp was named BSU's new president. I'm hopeful this is a sea change for higher education leadership and collaboration between our 8 public institutions. And though HEPC has met only once so far this summer, we have a retreat later this month, presidents have started working together in a different way. I sense a real positive and hopeful spirit of collaboration and shared vision. And the intention is to be more focused on developing and helping the state board and our legislature develop effective policy for higher education. It's going to be exciting times. Another group I attend is the ICCC, the Idaho Community College Consortium, made up of the 4 community college presidents and very often the board chairs of our trustees for each of the colleges. Of course, dual credit was a key topic for all of us this year as we talked about the impact of dual credit on our Idaho community colleges. We also discussed the power of Idaho's open access community college. And though I've mentioned it before, it bears repeating that the 4 community colleges in Idaho work together to establish a clear message for our legislature, one of dynamic and effective education at all levels, from workforce credentialing to transfer degrees, from CTE programming to articulated academic curricula. The germane committees, House and Senate Education and Joint Finance and Appropriations, comment every year on this phenomenon, this partnership, this story that we tell. We are planning our cooperative work for the upcoming legislative session, and we'll be meeting this fall to develop this year's strategies. It's a privilege to work with my fellow presidents at the community colleges. Early in the summer, presidents from the Scenic West Athletic Conference, or SWAC, met in Reno. As with Idaho, there are many new presidents, some from current SWAC member institutions and some from two schools joining the conference. Truckee Meadows will join this year, and with any luck, Great Basin down in Elko will join next year. New schools won't feature every sport, but there's a welcome opportunity as it increases the number of schools competing in the conference. I'm always impressed by the fact that we presidents in the Scenic West Athletic Conference focus first and foremost on our students. Athletic programs are fine in that they serve our students, and I'm very proud to be a part of that conference. When Governor Brad Little took office, he brought on a new team in several key positions within his own office and in many agencies. As we always do in preparatory to legislative sessions in January, this fall I'm planning meetings with key government officials at the Legislative Services Office, Department of Financial Management, Office of the State Board of Education, Workforce Development, and the Governor's Office. Some of the discussion points will focus on matters of policy and budget, requests for support in key areas for CSI, namely IT resources, weekend college initiative, and high-impact practices as an emerging Hispanic-serving institution. In my State of the College address in January, I hope to share a sense of the political winds for the 2020 session. The Northwest Commission on Colleges and Universities has been transformed by the leadership of its new president, Dr. Sunny Ramaswamy, who has been in place about a year. Dr. Ramaswamy was a scientific researcher in the ag area at Oregon State University and at, I think, Indiana, before he was tagged to be Undersecretary of Education by President Obama. He left that post to come and be the president of the Northwest Commission. And I can say that this last year has been the most exciting and transformative in my 6 years as Idaho's lone commissioner. Under Dr. Ramaswamy's leadership and his keen interest in improving regional accreditation, the Northwest Commission staff and commissioners have worked with member institutions to create revised accreditation standards and eligibility requirements. The general membership, the 100 and some odd colleges and universities in the 7 states represented by the Northwest, will vote on these changes at the annual conference in November of this year. In general, the changes lean toward less prescriptive oversight and are more assistive with supportive resources and guidance. Student success demonstrated through outcomes at all levels, from course through program, is key. and data will continue to be paramount as part of the evidentiary proof of student success. If you have any further questions, you can always check with our accreditation liaison officer, Chris Bragg. As I thought about my message today, I kept coming back to an idea that's partially a response to the headwinds every day. News headlines seem somehow to promote a feeling of angst or worry, even at times despair. Aside from unthinkable crimes against humanity, the undertones of incivility, intimidation, prevarication, hostility, and truculence challenge us all. Stress and fear are byproducts of these tensions, and we see this in the uptick in counseling and mental health issues with our students, possibly our friends and families, possibly even ourselves. So I ask this question today: where is our voice? What should our voice say? To whom? Is ours a voice of protest, of unity, of information, of anger, of hope? I'll tell you what my voice is. I want to say when I read a news item or hear a news story about loss and hate and violence and pain that I am not alone, that I stand with my friends and colleagues and we are kind, we care in uplifting ways. I want to be strong and courageous and say it, believing that what I do for my students and colleagues is life-changing and transformative, useful, and real. I want my voice to be one of reason, measured in thought and rhetoric for truth. I want to say my voice is to be the one thing someone will hear, the one thing that may just call someone in from the cold, away from the edge, back to the safety of our community and our mission. I want my voice to say, as our students walk across the stage at graduation, job well done, you matter, you have succeeded, and we're proud of you. I want to say to each student that we have believed in you because we at the College of Southern Idaho believe in each other, believe in our passion for service through education and community. So where is our voice? It's in each of us right here in this room, in case you haven't figured that out. We need to hear our voices. Our students need to hear our voices. Let's go change the world. Have a great semester. Thank you.
We'd now like to recognize some of our long-serving employees. So some of you received an email last week from the HR office. We're recognizing employees who have served for 10, 20, 30, and yes, even 40 years. So if you're one of those folks, if you'll just make your way over to the ramp over here, and then what we need you to do is arrange yourselves with the 10-year people towards the front, and then the 20-year people, and then the 30-year people, and our solitary 40-year person. So we'll just take just a few minutes for you to all make your way over there. Then we will be calling your name. When we call your name, you don't need to be in any particular order. When we call your name, if you'll come up and receive your recognition, and then proceed backstage. Doug Mon, Doug, show yourself. Are you back there? Doug. Yes, there he is. So he's all set up backstage, so after you're done with the president, you can just find your way back there and take a group photo, and we'll go from there. So it looks like we've got most people in place. Marcy Boyle. Lacey Klinger. Megan Jacobson. I don't see him up here. Ben Lustig. Surprise!
How are you?
He's only been here 10 years. So. Kara Mahana. Danielle Roberts. And Don Wendland. So this next group has been here 20 years. We'll start with Tony Baird. Camille Barriger. Rosa Davila. And I'm kind of thinking Gary's not here today. Gary he's usually on the road. Is Gary here? Okay, thank you. Lulinda Egbert. I know he's here, but he's not up here. Pat, you've been here 20 years. Yeah. Pat Farrell, everybody. That means Pat replaced me 20 years ago. Wendy Fisher. Can you hear? Cindy Flowers. And I don't think she can be here today, but I hope you're all thinking and praying for Deb Mateer. It's been here 20 years. Mary Olson. There's no way, Dan. 20 years. Dan Scrimpture. Dr. Tremaine, 20 years. And last but not least, Shelley Wright. Is Robert Blastock here? So he would be the first recipient of 30 years. And Todd Schwartz, is Todd Schwartz? And it doesn't happen very often. When I saw this person's name, I had to go see her and say, that's just not possible. And she said, I completed your degree audit when you graduated from CSL. So Lena, you must have started here when you were about 5 years old. Lena's been here 40 years. Give her a hand. I had to confer with my boss, but he has confirmed that we are done this morning. You can all migrate over to the Taylor building. I think there's some coffee and some other stuff over there. You guys have a great semester. You are awesome. Thanks.